What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Today we got a little cool one going on, doing a little something different. I got my dad's close family friend Bruce. He's been a friend of the family for years, known my dad for a long time, and he's going to show us all about mushrooms today and what he's been harvesting and what he's been working on. So I'm going to hand it over to him because we got a lot to cover today.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Yep.
So, Mendham Mushrooms, a little organic farm. It's just 10.5 acres here in North Jersey, but we've got a lot of interesting organic products we've been growing, not just mushrooms. So this morning I was out harvesting chestnuts. So we got a couple of chestnut trees. You can see that you break them apart. You got to wear gloves because these things are like porcupines. They're really sharp and they hurt. But we got pretty decent harvest. This is like the fourth day I've been able to pick a whole a barrel full of these chestnuts. They clean up. Now these are the European chestnuts. There's a nice grade A one there. All right, so these are European chestnuts. We've also got Chinese chestnuts, and amazingly we've got some American chestnuts. They're not producing yet. They're a little young. So that's a tree that was almost extinct. They're supposedly the tastiest of all the chestnuts, but hopefully in about 5 years we'll be harvesting American chestnuts as well. Again, so these are pretty good quality, good size, grade A chestnuts, and they are, like I said, these are off the European chestnut trees I've got. So these stacks of logs we've inoculated with mycelium. So we take the spores from the mushrooms, we grow them, and then we put them into colonies inside of monotubs. When we get the colonies, we'll take some of it and we'll mix it with wood dowels. So we'll create a bag full of wood dowels with some of the mycelium. We just put it in the refrigerator and wait 2-3 months. Pretty soon the mycelium spreads and all the dowels are covered with the mycelium from the fungus. So as you look here, you'll see little holes drilled everywhere. See? And those are all wood dowels we put in. Now what happens is the mycelium starts to spread. You see it here at the end of the log, and it will take over this log. Once it takes over the log, the next year it'll start to fruit. As soon as you get the right conditions, the right water, the right temperature, the right humidity, these logs will start to sprout lots of mushrooms all over them once they get, completely taken over by the mycelium inside the logs. So each of these is a different type of mushroom, each stack. We've got some competition here, some turkey tail. This is supposed to be chestnut mushrooms, but this is turkey tail also hitting this log. So we got two kinds of mushrooms in this one. I'll show you turkey tail. Turkey tail is an interesting mushroom. It's a polypore. You see it's all white on the bottom, and it's got all these striped lines. When it's fresh, particularly in a couple of weeks, it'll be all different colors, blues and greens and oranges and browns and stripes on it. This mushroom is really good for treating cancer. It's actually considered a secondary treatment along with chemo and other things. It helps reduce tumor sizes. So it tastes like crap though. So what we do is we dry it, we grind it up into a powder, and we put it in little gelatin capsules or soy capsules, so you don't have to taste it. But it's
just
also
for the health benefits.
Yeah, if you've got cancer, it's a lot of oncologists are suggesting that as a secondary treatment, it helps reduce tumor sizes.
Wow.
So it uses your natural immune system. It gives it what it needs to start attacking the tumors and making them smaller. It doesn't necessarily cure cancer. There's no claim to do that, but it certainly makes tumor sizes smaller. And a lot of people give it to older dogs because you know how they get those fatty tumors everywhere? This, put it in their dog food and it reduces the tumor sizes dramatically.
Wow.
So there's a couple of types of mushrooms that like elm trees. Besides elm oyster, there's a mycorrhizal called yellow morel that loves these trees. So we have inoculated the soil and the roots of these trees with yellow morel. So in a year or two, we hope to get a morel patch here.
Wow.
There's two kinds of morels we grow here. One is yellow morels, which are native to North America, and then there's black morels, which are from Europe. There's a famous bolete in cooking called the porcini mushroom, right? There's a lot of others that are less common, but just as good tasting or better. Like we're growing bay boletes and queen boletes and bronze boletes intentionally here because they're excellent they're excellent culinary mushrooms.
Yeah.
So we don't have any coming off right now. We harvested a couple of weeks ago.
All harvested out.
Yeah, but these straw bales were blue oysters. So we had blue oyster mushrooms growing on these hay bales a couple of weeks ago. So up here where the dogs are playing, there's 3 rows of logs there. The first row of logs is turkey tail, the second one's chicken of the woods, and the third one up at the top is chestnut mushrooms. So we just inoculated all these in the spring. We'll be waiting, probably next year we'll get definitely turkey tail. It's already popping up on some of them.
Yeah.
The chicken of the woods is going to take a little longer, probably 2 years. And we hope to get some, at least a few chestnut mushrooms from the top row next year, but the year after that, that should just pop. We should have tons of chestnut mushrooms. Here's one of our older stacks of turkey tail. You'll see all these logs around here. This is growing live turkey tail right now. That nice white area underneath and all the lines on top. All these logs are growing turkey tails. We should have a pretty big harvest just out of this pile alone in November. We usually harvest the turkey tail in November. So we don't harvest 100% of the mushrooms. We want them to go to spore. We want them to sporulate and spread their spores in the wind and everything. So we only harvest about 3/4 of the mushrooms that we grow. So you can see here's some turkey tail we left from last year. It's a little older.
All dried out.
It's all dried out, but it all sporulated. It spreads spores, so it hits all the other logs. So we can keep stacking logs up in this area, and they'll just keep, like I said before, turkey tail is pretty aggressive, so it'll spread on all the logs we put back here. So one thing you'll notice that's a little bit different about this farm is it doesn't look like a typical farm. It looks like the forest, because it is. This is a woodland farm. We're growing crops in the woods, and they're more than just mushrooms. We're growing fiddlehead ferns, where the tops of the ferns are really healthy and delicious. We're growing blackberries, and we're getting nuts. We got some shagbark hickory nuts, which are delicious, by the way. They're the best tasting of the hickory nuts. So and chestnuts. So we've got a lot of other products coming out of these woods that are all edible and really healthy for you. One of the ones I'm excited about, we've been planting on not just this property, but on another property, we've got a lot of white oak trees, and we're planting white oak trees here to replace some of the red maples we're taking out. White oak acorns are delicious. And the Native Americans in the eastern United States for thousands of years, for 6,000 years, didn't eat bread. They didn't have wheat, really. They had corn, but they didn't have wheat. They used for their main staple, it was an acorn mash. They would use white acorns or chestnut acorns, which are really low in alkaloids, and they're delicious. They're sweet, so they would store them all winter, and they would break them open, take the meat out, mash them up with water, make paste out of them, cook them, and that's what they use as a staple. So we're kind of interested in figuring out how we can create products from the white acorn nut, the white oak acorns and the chestnut oak acorns, and start creating really healthy food products for people again, like the Native Americans here in North America ate for thousands of years.
Right. So Bruce went to go run a quick errand real quick, and I'm gonna get started on cooking up some dinner with these gorgeous mushrooms. I'm gonna make a beautiful pasta dish with a light cream sauce, and I'll show you what I'm doing with it right now. So there's a finished fettuccine. We're gonna start prepping the other stuff.
So, we have a great big chicken of the wood mushroom here. This one's, well, when I first harvested it 3 days ago, it was probably about 8 pounds. It's probably about 6 now. It's dehydrating a bit. You'll notice that on the bottom, it's bright yellow. And on the top, it's kind of orange and striped.
Such a pretty mushroom.
So the fact that the bottom's yellow is one of the reasons they call it sulfur shelf, because you see it on a tree looking up, the bottom's the color of sulfur underneath it. So I'm gonna break a few of these off. They break off pretty easily. So I'm just gonna brush this off, see if I can get any. These, when they grow, they pick up some of the wood from the trees that they grow on. So I just scrape a little of the pieces off. A little bit of it doesn't bother anybody.
Yep.
So you scrape off pieces of wood that get stuck as it grows. The bottom of it is really woody. Actually, this I cut pretty far back. The further you go down, the woodier it gets, the texture. The further you go up, the softer and more tender it gets. So depending on how much you like, I'm going to cut, although I broke this off pretty far, I'm going to cut this bottom off right here where it's a little tougher. Take a little of that off. This one already broke back pretty far,
yep.
So did this one. So those are all good.
Nice.
Now, chicken of the woods is called chicken of the woods, not to be confused with hen of the woods. Hen of the woods is called hen of the woods because it looks like a chicken crouched and hiding in the grass, in the leaves, right? Chicken of the woods is called chicken of the woods because it tastes and feels a little bit like white meat chicken.
Right.
So chicken of the woods is a completely different mushroom than hen of the woods. They look different, they taste different. They just have different chicken attributes. One looks like a chicken, the other one tastes like a chicken.
Yeah. We want like nice chunks. Start sauteing those mushrooms. Season them up, a little bit of salt. There we go, get a nice coat on. Yeah, you're right, these do not shrink that much. Here's where we're going to start to build this pasta dish. We're going to go in here with some Chardonnay. A little bit of salt. Fresh pepper. Now once you've got it reduced nicely, just a little bit more, we're going to add in some chicken stock. Now that we got that boiling, we're going to add in some heavy cream. Let that all reduce. So we're starting to reduce that down. It's looking good. We're just about ready to add these beautifully seared, fresh chicken of the woods in there. It's just going to create this beautiful mushroom sauce. So we're at this point right now that everything is starting to reduce. It's looking like a beautiful cream sauce. We're going to just let that hang out and drop the pasta. It's not going to take long at all. We're going to do a little bit of fresh Parmigiano Reggiano in there. Right in there. Just a little bit more cheese on top. And there you have it. That is a mushroom chicken of the woods pasta. With some fresh pasta, fresh cream, Parmigiano Reggiano. Looks delicious. Can't wait to try it. Take a picture of that. So this is it.
I can take a picture of the two of you. Here you are.
Fresh mushrooms right from Mendham Mushrooms. Chicken of the woods, grown himself, turned it into a delicious pasta dish.
I can't wait.
We're gonna give it a shot right now. I know.
I eat chicken of the woods all the time.
I know. Let's see. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them because when you said they didn't shrink, I was like, yeah, they really like hold up to their integrity.
Yeah, a lot of the polypores don't have that much water in them. That's really good.
So good. Kept it simple. I wanted to let the mushrooms show.
And they even taste a little different than how I'm used to, because I usually fry them in butter.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes different the way, but it tastes actually more like chicken the way you make them.
Yeah, I just like put a little butter in the pan, sauteed them, got them brown, a little bit of color on them. Finished them in the sauce.
Delicious.
Delicious.
The chef.
Cheers. And I get what you mean with the mushroom, like it has this meaty consistency.
Yeah.
And even for it to be cooked for a while, it's got a nice like bite.
This is becoming popular with
definitely
like
use it a lot.
vegetarians, because you can replace meat with some of these mushrooms, not just in flavor, but I mean these are, like you said, they feel meaty, they bite meaty, they got the texture of like white meat chicken.
100%. 100%. All right, we're wrapping it up here with Bruce from Mendham Mushrooms. If you guys are looking for any of the information, I'm going to try my best to leave everything below. Thanks for having me, Bruce.
Thanks for coming.
Yep, I
Next
appreciate
harvest,
it.
we'll invite you back and we'll have some different mushrooms for you to cook with.
Yep, sounds good. So if you like this video, guys, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything more. Thanks, and we'll see you next time until we cook something else. See you, everyone.